Okay, this is example number 3. This one's a little trickier. So if we look at the numbers involved, I'm going to need two numbers that multiply to give me 10, and I need two numbers that add together, and they've got to be the same two numbers, they've got to add together to give me minus 7. Okay, alright, so how is that going to work? Two numbers that multiply to give me a positive number, and they've got to add together to give me a negative number. Well, if they've got to add together to give me a negative number, well, at least one of them's got to be negative. When you add two positive numbers together, you get a positive number. I can only get a negative number, I can only get that negative 7 if at least one of the numbers that I'm after is negative. But then there's a problem. If one of those numbers is negative, what happens when you multiply a negative times a positive? Well, you get a negative number. But the numbers we're after have to multiply to give me positive 10. And so really the only thing I can have is a negative times a negative. That'll give me a positive number. And I need a positive 10. And if the two numbers are negative, they can add together to give me minus 7. So really in this instance, what I'm after are two negative numbers. They're going to multiply together to give me positive 10, and they'll add together to give me minus 7. And so let's give it a go. Let's say I started with minus 10 and minus 1. Now when I multiply them together, I'll get positive 10. Minus 10 times minus 1 is positive 10. Okay, so that works. But minus 10 and minus 1, when you add them together, you get minus 11. So clearly that is not what we're after. We're after minus 7. That's not going to work. What about minus 5 and minus 2? Well, minus 5 times minus 2 is positive 10. That's good. And minus 5 added to minus 2, and we get minus 7. And so yes, that is what we're after. So they're my numbers, minus 5 and minus 2. And so this factorizes into x minus 5 times x minus 2. And that's the third example.